Imagine you're Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of Great Britain, sitting in Downing Street with a cup of tea, probably thinking your biggest worry today is whether the trains are running on time, when suddenly, crash. Your hand-picked U.S. ambassador has just stepped in the political equivalent of a massive pothole while wearing white trousers. Lord Peter Mandelson, the man you personally chose to charm Donald Trump, has been caught red-handed at a Labour fundraiser, and the Conservatives are sharpening their knives faster than Gordon Ramsay in a kitchen nightmare. Welcome to the latest episode of How to Turn Your Star Diplomatic Appointment into a Political Car Crash in 10 Easy Steps. Now, before we dive headfirst into this delicious mess of diplomatic drama, let's set the scene properly. Peter Mandelson was appointed UK ambassador to the United States in December 2024 and started the role on the 10th of February 2025, making him one of the freshest faces in the diplomatic corps. But this isn't just any ordinary ambassador. This is a prince of darkness himself, a man so steeped in Labour politics that he practically bleeds red, white, and blue party propaganda. Starmer didn't pick some boring career diplomat for this job. He went for the political equivalent of bringing a flamethrower to a dinner party. The scandal that's got Westminster buzzing like a nest of particularly agitated wasps revolves around Mandelson's appearance at a Labour Party fundraiser over the summer. Not just any fundraiser, mind you, but one specifically raising money for Labour MPs Gregor Poynton and Imogen Walker. And here's where it gets really spicy. Imogen Walker just happens to be married to Morgan McSweeney, who is Starmer's chief of staff. It's like a political soap opera where everyone's related to everyone else, and they're all making questionable decisions at family gatherings. The Conservatives are having an absolute field day with this, and frankly, who can blame them? They spotted what they believe is a flagrant breach of diplomatic service rules, and they are wielding this accusation like a medieval knight wielding a particularly sharp sword. Alex Burghardt, the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, a title that sounds like it was invented during a particularly creative game of political Scrabble, has accused Starmer of Houdini-like contortions to make this whole mess appear above board. That's not just political criticism. That's political poetry with a knife's edge. Labour's initial response to the controversy was about as convincing as claiming you're on a diet while standing in a bakery with cake crumbs around your mouth. They insisted that Mandelson attended the fundraiser in a personal capacity and didn't play any formal role in it. That's a political equivalent of saying you just happened to be in the bank vault by accident when all that money went missing. Technically possible, but it stretches credibility thinner than budget airline legroom. But wait, there's more, because this story gets juicier than a Sunday roast. The row escalated faster than house prices in London when the government appeared to suggest that the manner of Mandelson's appointment would somehow affect how strict diplomatic service rules were applied to him. Enter Sir Oliver Robbins, the Foreign Office Permanent Undersecretary, who wrote a letter that basically said the diplomatic code would be applied against the backdrop that Mandelson was directly appointed by ministers to take advantage of his political experience and skill. That letter is like handing the opposition a loaded political gun and then pointing it at your own foot. Robbins essentially admitted that the rules might be different for politically appointed ambassadors, which is like saying traffic laws don't fully apply to people who got their driving licenses through connections. It's a legal and logical minefield that would make constitutional lawyers reach for the aspirin. The Conservative response was predictably explosive. They filed formal complaints against both Mandelson and Sir Oliver Robbins, which in political terms is like declaring war using very polite paperwork. Burghardt didn't hold back, declaring that whatever his party political allegiances, he is now the UK's ambassador to Washington and the rules still apply to him. It's a simple principle that somehow got lost in the political equivalent of interpretive dance. What makes this whole situation particularly delicious from a political drama perspective is that Starmer built his entire opposition campaign on cleaning up politics and raising standards in public life. He promised to be different, to be better, to restore integrity to government. And now here he is, barely a year into his premiership, performing what Burghardt brilliantly described as Houdini-like contortions to protect his personally chosen ambassador from diplomatic service rules. It's like watching someone campaign on healthy eating and then getting caught running a secret candy shop. The timing of this controversy couldn't be worse for Starmer if he'd personally planned it to cause maximum political damage. With Donald Trump now in the White House, Mandelson's experience with political communication and the media was supposed to make him a practical and effective choice. Instead, He has become a political liability before he's even properly settled into the Washington embassy. It's like hiring a celebrity chef for your restaurant and then discovering they can't actually cook without causing food poisoning. The broader implications of this mess stretch far beyond one fundraiser appearance. If the government is essentially arguing that politically appointed ambassadors play by different rules than career diplomats, then their opening can have constitutional worms that would make Pandora's box look like a simple jewelry case. The Civil Service Code exists for a reason, to ensure political impartiality and maintain public trust in our institutions. Start making exceptions, and the whole system begins to unravel like a cheap sweater in a washing machine. What's particularly galling for the Conservatives is the apparent double standard at play here. If a Tory-appointed ambassador had been caught at a Conservative fundraiser, Labour would have been calling for heads to roll faster than the French Revolution. But now that it's that person in the hot seat, suddenly the rules become more flexible. It's political hypocrisy so obvious that even the most partisan observer would struggle to defend it with a straight face. The Foreign Office's response to media questions about which part of the diplomatic code would exempt Mandelson's fundraiser appearance was about as helpful as a chocolate teapot in a heat wave. They essentially said, it's our job to interpret the rules, and we've decided we're right, which is a bureaucratic equivalent of because we said so. It's the kind of circular reasoning that would make philosophy professors weep with frustration. Meanwhile, Mandelson himself seems to be maintaining a diplomatic silence that would be admirable if it weren't so obviously calculated. He may find it awkward to work with Trump's administration after previously calling him reckless and a bully, though has made groveling apologies hoping for forgiveness in the White House. Now he's got domestic political problems threatening to derail his mission before it's properly begun. It's like trying to negotiate a peace treaty while your own house is on fire. The political calculation here is fascinating to watch unfold. Starmer has to decide whether protecting Mandelson is worth the ongoing political damage. Every day this story stays in the headlines is another day when his administration looks like it's operating under different rules than everyone else. It's death by 1,000 cuts, except each cut is self-inflicted and could have been easily avoided. The Conservative strategy is equally clear and potentially devastating. They are not just attacking Mandelson, they are using this controversy to undermine Starmer's entire Mr. Clean political brand. Every time they mention Houdini-like contortions, they are reminding voters that this Prime Minister promised to be different but is behaving exactly like every other politician when faced with an awkward situation involving his allies. What makes this particularly painful for Labour is that they didn't need to be in this position at all. Mandelson could have simply declined to attend the fundraiser, citing his new diplomatic role. It would have been a minor disappointment for party fundraisers, but no political scandal. Instead, they decided to play fast and loose with the rules and hope nobody would notice. It's like walking through a minefield blindfolded while juggling. Technically possible, but spectacularly unwise. The international dimension adds another layer of complexity to this mess. Britain's relationship with the United States is supposed to be about serious diplomacy, trade deals, and global security cooperation. Instead, we're having a public debate about whether our ambassador can attend political fundraisers. The appointment of a politician rather than a career diplomat was supposed to strengthen the US-UK relationship, but right now it's looking more like a distraction from the serious business of international relations. The precedent this sets is potentially catastrophic for future diplomatic appointments. If politically appointed ambassadors can attend party fundraisers as long as they do it in a personal capacity, then the entire concept of diplomatic neutrality becomes meaningless. It's like saying judges can campaign for political parties as long as they take their wigs off first. Technically a distinction, but one that completely misses the point about institutional integrity. As this drama continues to unfold, Starmer faces a choice that will define how seriously his administration takes its own standards. He can continue the contortions, trying to explain away the unexplainable, or he can accept that mistakes were made and take corrective action. The problem is that admitting error now means acknowledging that his personal judgment in both appointing Mandelson and defending him was flawed. For a prime minister who built his reputation on competence and integrity, that's a bitter pill to swallow. The Conservative pressure campaign shows no signs of letting up, and frankly, why would it? They found a perfect example of Labour saying one thing in opposition and doing another in government. It's the kind of political hypocrisy that writes its own attack ads and provides months of material for prime ministers' questions. Every time Starmer tries to lecture them about standards in public life, they can simply point to the Mandelson affair and watch him squirm. What this whole sorry saga ultimately reveals is how difficult it is to maintain high political standards when faced with the messy realities of governing. Starmer discovered that appointing political allies to important positions creates conflicts of interest that can't be simply wished away with clever wording and bureaucratic interpretations. The rules exist for everyone, or they exist for no one. There's no middle ground that doesn't lead to accusations of corruption and favoritism. Thanks for watching UK Pancakes today. If this diplomatic drama served with a side of political hypocrisy got your blood pumping faster than a Westminster scandal, smash that like button, subscribe for more political chaos analysis, and drop a comment telling us whether Starmer should fire Mandelson or if the Conservatives are making a mountain out of a molehill. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time when we'll probably be covering whatever fresh political catastrophe emerges from the wonderful world of British governance.